daily dose of practical wit and wisdom with a professional educator and trainer, Amazon best-selling author, United States Marine, television and radio host, Paul G. Markle. Each episode will focus on positive and productive ways to strengthen your mindset and help you improve your relationships, career goals, and overall well-being. Please welcome your host, Paul G. Markle.
Hello and welcome back to Morning Mindset. And thank you. Number one, thank you for being patient and waiting for us to come back. I was pretty busy last week. And number two, thank you for your patronage and for following Morning Mindset. Before we get into the main topic today, I just want to share something with you. As most of you probably encounter, we have, as a family, we have sometimes issues that we need to take care of. Sometimes we get busy with extra things, extracurricular activities, or things that deviate from our normal lives. And last week was one of those weeks. We had a lot between my wife and I and the rest of our family. We had a lot going on that required our time and attention. And in addition to that, as I told you before we stopped previously during the last week, I am working on a Morning Mindset Manuscript on a new book. And what the book is going to be, it's going to be a combination. If you imagine a daily devotional and an educational resource guide or an educational guide. So you take a daily devotional and you take a educational book or a resource guide and you combine the two of them. That is what the Morning Mindset book is going to be all about. It's actually, the working title is 30-Day Plan to a More Positive and Productive Life. Now, in addition to taking care of personal family business last week, something else that we did, or something else that I did, is I added between 10 and 12,000 words to the new book, and it is about 2/3 to 3/4 finished. So there's that. And it's not going to be available immediately, but it will be available relatively soon. And it'll be available on Kindle and as a paperback and so forth. But I wanted to catch you guys up and kind of let you know and thank you for your patience and your patronage for sharing this and being out there. All right, let's talk about the season of Easter and Lent. Now, if you're listening to this at the very beginning of April, when we released it, it was just Easter weekend. And the season that leads up to Easter weekend is what? It's the season of Lent. Now, many of you may not have been raised in the church, but Lent is that time that leads up to Easter, and it's after Ash Wednesday. Now, many of you Southerners know that Mardi Gras, every year, the calendar of Mardi Gras is based upon the Easter calendar, because Mardi Gras ends right before Lent begins. You have Fat Tuesday, which is the capper of Mardi Gras, and then you have Ash Wednesday, and you begin the season of Lent. Now, when I was a young man, when I was growing up in the church, I wasn't Catholic, I was Lutheran, but I remember very specifically my mother giving up something for the season of Lent. And that's a tradition in the church, is that during the season of Lent, you deliberately sacrifice or you give up something. And it's not anything specific. No one tells you, you have to give up this or you have to give up that. But let's talk about why you do that and what you learn from sacrifice. Now, if you're on the outside looking in, and many people who are not raised in the church or don't understand, they're like, oh, that's just because, them Christians are always trying to force their ways on people, and they're just trying to make them do what they think they should do, and so forth. But what is the purpose of the season of Lent as far as sacrificing or giving something up? Now, many of you know about the act of fasting, right? What is fasting? Fasting is to not eat on purpose. I mean, you drink water and you take supplements and so on and so forth, but you deliberately don't eat. And you're like, well, that's wrong. You should never do that. It's unhealthy for you. Well, it's not going to kill you to miss a meal or two. And let's face it, if you look out across the United States of America, there's a lot of people who could live minus a couple of meals. But when it comes to fasting or sacrificing or giving something up, what is the purpose behind that? And what do we learn from it? Now, during the season of Lent, many people will give up normal things from their daily lives. People will give up, Cokes or sodas or something like that. Or maybe if they like to drink beer or wine or whatever, they'll give that up. They'll say, no wine, no beer during Lent. Or, no meat. Some people will not eat red meat or white meat. They'll only eat fish or what have you during Lent. It doesn't matter. You pick something. People will say, all right, I, as a demonstration of self-discipline and control and sacrifice, I'm going to give up blank. I'm going to make a deliberate and purposeful change. Now, the reason that we do that and the reason that we fast is to put our minds or our spirits in control of our bodies. Now, when you get hungry, like the moment you feel hungry, your body says to your mind, I'm hungry, I want food now. And so what do? Well, your mind says, okay, body, I will get you food as quickly as humanly possible. And you start looking for food, right? And you say, well, that's not necessarily a bad thing, is it? Well, if you want to be a mature person, if you want to lead a positive life, your mind needs to be in control of your physical impulses. Consider the world in which we live today. Consider the society in which we live. Do you believe that the vast majority of people who are living in our modern society have their minds or their spirits firmly in control of their physical impulses? Or does it seem as though it's the opposite? Animals are completely and totally driven by their physical desires. An animal is cold and it seeks warmth. It's scared and it seeks shelter. It's hungry or thirsty and it spends all of its time seeking water or food. An animal bases all their decisions upon their physical impulses. And I know that you say, no, my doggie loves me. And when I look in my doggie's eyes, I can see that he loves me. Well, your doggie appreciates you because you're the one who gives him warmth and shelter and food and water and attention and so forth, But your dog can't actually love you. And I know some of you are like, no, my dog does love me. Whatever. Animals base all of their decisions and all of their actions on their physical impulses. We, as human beings, are supposed to differentiate ourselves from animals by being in control of our physical impulses and not always giving in to them. So let us say that during the season of Lent, you give up sweets. Let's say you like ice cream, you like pie, you like cake, you like whatever. Everybody likes their sweets, right? But you decide that during Lent, you're going to give those things up. Now, sometimes during that 6 weeks leading up to Easter, you're probably going to be in a position where if you have given up sweets, for instance, you go somewhere and you see dessert. You see the cheesecake, or you go into a coffee shop to get your coffee in the morning and you see those just delicious looking cupcakes. And you see those and your body says, oh, I want one. You salivate even maybe. And you say, I want one of those. And your mind says, no. Even though body says, I want one, I'm going to discipline myself and I'm not going to do it. I'm going to put my mind or my spirit in charge, and I'm going to tell my body what it is and is not going to get. In our modern world, it's very easy to just let your body, your physical impulses drive everything you do, your feelings. But during the season of Lent, one of the benefits, one of the things that we learn from sacrificing is to put our mind in charge, to take control so that you are in charge, so that your mind says, no, we're not going to do that. All right. So that catches us up. This is episode number 51 of Morning Mindset. Thank you very much for joining me. I am Paul Markle, and I'll talk to you again real soon.
Thank you for spending time with us today. To get show notes, submit a topic request, and for more from your host, Paul G. Markle, visit morningmindsetpodcast.com. That's morningmindsetpodcast.com. Please leave a review for this podcast on your favorite podcast player. We appreciate your time and effort, and we look forward to reading your honest feedback.